Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, saha viryam karavavahai, tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Samasta jana kalyane niratam karunamayam namami chinmayam devam sadgurum brahma vidvaram mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Paramananda Madhavam. Let's read verse number 2 of chapter 16 together. Ahimsa satyamakrodha tyagashantirapaishunam daya bhuteshwaloluktvam mardavam hrirachapalam. So in verse 2, we saw a way to develop self-love is through having confidence and patience. And we saw that ahimsa, what is violence towards myself? Violence is underestimating my potential. Violence towards myself is having negative self-talk, is saying that I can't do certain things. It's creating limitations. We saw that's violence. And satyam is really realizing the truth of our potential, realizing who we really are and what we can give, what we can do for the world. And we saw a lot about this in our Q&A session. Then akrodha, while we're on the path to making ourselves better, to growing, we said be patient with ourselves. Because growth takes time. Growth takes time. Just imagine how many times a young child had to fall before he or she walked. So many times. And how many times he or she had to spit out food before they learned how to chew and eat. So growth is a natural process and it takes time. Then we saw tyaga. Letting go of what? Our desires. Letting go of our desires and becoming deserving. Like a little baby again. You know, when a little baby is born, that baby is so free, so cheerful, and that baby doesn't want anything. But because that baby is so free, so cheerful, so adorable, the whole world comes to that baby. Everybody starts talking like a baby, isn't it? The mother and the father will make all baby faces. All baby talk will go on. The mother and father will sacrifice so much for the baby. All their work, everything they've earned, they'll put forth to the baby. All the gifts that will come for the baby. One of the mothers told me, you know, when I was pregnant, all the attention was on me. But the minute my baby was born, I didn't even exist, she said to me. And this is what happens. Everything is about the baby. But does the baby even speak? Can the baby even say anything? Can the baby even say, I want this, I want that? No, the baby is just so deserving, it's just so adorable that everyone would give anything for that child. And even a stranger, right? So the baby becomes so deserving, and the whole world wants that baby. The whole world wants to cuddle that baby, to hold that baby. So Tyaga, letting go of our desires and becoming deserving. And we saw Shanti, cultivating that peace of mind. And knowing which battles to fight, which battles to let go of. Then Apaishunam, not speaking about the negativities of other people in public. And we saw Daya Bhuteshu. Compassion towards beings means just feeling them out. There's always the need to say something. There's always the need to give advice. Or, we have this feeling of we should do something. We should give advice. But actually, sometimes the best thing is not to do anything. Sometimes the best thing is to be present with them and just give them attention. Aloluptavam is being able to say no to temptations. Then Mardavam, gentleness, Hrihi, modesty, and Achapalam means absence of being fickle. Now we go on to the third shloka, which is going to give us another insight on how to love ourselves. So we are on verse 3. I will chant, then you can repeat. Teja kshama dhriti shaucham adroho nati manita bhavanti sampadam daivim abhijatasya bharata. Together. Teja kshama dhriti shaucham adroho nati manita bhavanti sampadam daivim abhijatasya bharata. So Lord Krishna says, the next set of qualities are tejaha. What does tejaha mean? Tejaha means brilliance. What happens when we are able to bring ourselves to a certain level and break free from these limitations which we talked about and bring ourselves to a different level of growth? We start to shine. We start to become brilliant. And it's so much that people want to come near us. People want to be near us, even if we don't say anything, even if we don't do anything. It's like how Guruji is, right? He doesn't say anything. He doesn't really do anything. But all of a sudden, so many people will just flock to his room. And then he'll say, you're here again? Again, you're here. But we can't help it because he's full of teja, right? He's full of vigor, and you just want to be with him. Even if you're a fly in the wall, even if you have to find like a little corner to sit and just be, you just want to be with him. Or like how Puja Gurudev was. People were just magnetized towards him. So what happens when we start to love ourselves is we become magnetic. Tejaha means we become magnetic. And as I said, we don't have to run after things. They start coming to us. And that's an expression of self-love. Tejaha. Kshama. Kshama means forgiveness. So many times, or there are times in our lives, when maybe we did things which we didn't like about ourselves. We did something really wrong. We did something terrible. We did something like oh my gosh, how can I ever forgive myself for that? And we carry that regret and we carry that guilt. And we're not able to forgive ourselves for that. We're not able to let it go. We made such a huge, huge mistake and we can't let it go. And it sits with us all the time. What do? How do we deal with this kind of thing? So forgiveness for the self comes in the process of atonement. Atonement in Sanskrit is called prayashchitta. So one is that's why there's this positive shame, that you feel like you've done something wrong, and now atone for it. Because nobody knows really what we do. We know, We know the commitments we've made for ourselves. We know the vows that we took. And if we did something wrong, then to be able to let go of that guilt, to be able to let go of that, take up some prayashchitta. Atonement means I have to now combat that. Okay, I did something wrong. It was, I made a mistake. Now I have to make up for it. And practical ways to make up for it. Once when I was in the course, and there was, there's so many people who come and they bring lots of chocolates and sweets. All you San Jose people did that. We're very grateful. But it was very hard and tempting, because you're there for Vedant. You're not there for all of these things. But then it's hard because you haven't had that for a long time. So when you see it, you're like, oh my gosh, there's a Kit Kat bar? That's amazing, And the mind can get distracted. And I said to myself, this is really wrong. This is really wrong to be distracted by that kind of thing. And I have to do something to get me out of it. And so on Shivaratri day, I took a vow to stop eating sweets during the Vedanta course. I said, I'm not going to do it. I just can't, because that's a big mistake. It's a big mistake to be distracted by something else and other than what I came here for, and I can't afford to be like that anymore. And I said, I don't have the strength to do it, but Lord Shiva, you have the strength, so you make it happen. And so I had to do that to atone for it. And because of Bhagavan's grace, it worked. It did work. But what I'm saying is how to forgive ourselves is we have to atone for it. We can't just let it go. You can't just let it go. Because you and I will repeat the same mistake again and again and again. In fact, a lot of our lives is repeating the same mistake again and again and again. So it's not about feeling guilty for the mistake or feeling regret for the mistake. It's more like I feel ashamed that I went that low. And because I feel ashamed, I have to make up for it, and this is how I will do it. And after I make up for it, then let it go. It's gone. Because the past, it's not a place of residence. It's a place of reference. This happened, and I learned from it. Now move on. But apply that atonement so that we truly, truly learn and we're able to let it go fully. Otherwise, it will sit here. That guilt will sit, that regret will sit. If we did something wrong, apologize right away. Make up for it right away. Pick it up right away. The idea is when we pick ourselves up right away, then we can let it go. We can let the past go. So many times we wake up and we say, oh my gosh, it's been a bad day. It's been a terrible day. Well, right there and then make it better. But we tend to extend it and we say it's a bad day. And we say it's just a bad day. It's just a bad day. It's just a bad day. And we extend it and we make the whole day bad. But why? When the minute we're falling, it's a bad day. Okay, make it better. Okay, let's make it better. Okay, let's make it work. And that is also an art. Because as seekers, it's hard to expect that we won't fall. It's hard to expect that we won't fail. It's hard to expect that we won't make mistakes. All of this will happen and it's part of our growth and it's okay. But you know what's key? catch ourselves quickly. When we see that we're falling 20%, catch ourselves. Because when we catch ourselves at 30 or 40%, it gets harder. And when we catch ourselves at 50, 60, 70%, it's even tougher. And we catch ourselves at 90%, good luck. It's tough. This example is given in this text, Viveka-Chudamani, this Keli Kanduka, this ball falling from the steps, right? When the ball is falling from the steps, you catch the ball right away, you're good. You let it drop a few steps, harder to catch. You let it drop a few more steps, harder to catch. So if I see myself falling, I see myself making a mistake, I see I'm going wrong somewhere, it's okay. It's a part of our growth, but catch ourselves. That's the trick. And the quicker I catch myself, then the better it is. Then I can bring myself back up. So the key to forgiveness of the self is, number 1, atonement, and number 2, catching myself quick enough. And that's why you will see the underlying thing for all of this is that introspection. When I am daily introspecting, then I'm aware of what's going on in my mind and in my daily activities. I guarantee you, in our lives, there's a mistake that we continuously repeat. We're continuously repeating it. And we're not able to atone for it deeply. So, kshama. Then we come to dhriti. Dhriti means fortitude. Puja Gurudev describes it so beautifully. He calls dhriti as that secret energy that helps us to finish the goal. Because certain times when we are on the path, we get tired, we get drained, we get exhausted, and we're like, I can't do it anymore. It's too hard. Then on that way, a secret energy will come to make us finish strong. And that secret energy to make us finish strong is called dhriti. Because guess what? Many people can start strong. Many people have so many ideas, so enthusiastic. Let's start, everything, let's start. And then on the way, there's some obstacles. There's some obstacles here and there. And what happens? Either some people, they break down, or they stop, or they just turned off. They're like, maybe it's not for me. And they halt, or they turn back. And yet there's some people who make it throughout the obstacles, and they go all the way, almost till the end. But that almost till the end point is that hardest point. It's that hardest point where you're like, I just want to turn back. It's just too much. I've just had enough. Dhriti is that ability to see it all the way until the end. Whatever I've committed myself to, whatever I've started, if it is contributing to my self-growth, then finish it through the end. Finish it all the way and finish strong. Not panting like, I made it, but finish with grace, finish strong. Earlier we played Capture the Flag. How much dhriti is involved in that game to protect the flag, right? You're losing all your teammates. They're all in jail now, and they're making one long line. They're chattering, and they're talking to each other. All of that is happening, and there's 2 people left in the field, but what dhriti they have, that nobody should get my flag. And at the same point, the other team is like, I need to get that flag. We need to go and see it all the way through. And it is that dhriti that keeps you going. So fortitude brings us spiritual fortune. Right now, we also lose this. We're losing this dhriti. In the airplane, it says, wait sit down, please wait until the seatbelt sign, goes off. Please wait, wait. Because already you're landing, you might as well follow all the instructions. But before the seatbelt sign goes off, everybody's going on, taking their baggage. It's like dhriti. If you're gonna do something, go all the way. Already you followed all the rules. Already you did everything. Why on the last bit we have to compromise? Finish it properly. Finish it strong. That's the characteristic of a great action. It finishes with grace. One time, Bhagavan Indra Devata, he was angry at the farmers. Now, don't ask me why Indra Devata, he has mood swings sometimes. He's angry at this person, that person. So he decided all the farmers, they won't get any rain. They won't get any rain for 12 years. He got mad. So the farmers, then they stopped sowing seeds. They stopped trying to yield their crops. They stopped all of that. But one farmer kept on it. He kept digging. He kept preparing the soil. He kept making sure everything's fertile. And the other fellow farmer said, listen, we're not going to get rain in 12 years. What are you doing, digging all of this? He said, I should not lose my practice. If I forget how to do all of this, then in 12 years when rains come, I'm not going to know how to do all of this. I'll lose my skill, my ability. Then I'll never yield any crops. So I might as well practice every now and then. So when rain comes, I'm ready for it. So now, Lord Shiva and Mata Parvati were there. And Mata Parvati, she heard this. She said, my God, look at this farmer. And Indra Bhagavan said, it will come only 12 years when Lord Shiva plays his Damaru. So when his Damaru plays, then it will come. So Parvati Mata said, hey Mahadev, listen, if you don't play your Damaru for 12 years, don't you think you'll forget how to play it? Don't you think you might forget that skill? 12 years is a long time. I think you should, maybe practice a little bit and then see what happens. So Lord Shiva said, yeah, you're right. I might lose that skill. So I better play it. And guess what happened? Lord Shiva played his Damaru, and then rain fell, and only that farmer's area yielded crops. And everybody was shocked. Everyone was astonished. Because he had what we call Thriti. So very often, the games that we play, they're not won in the actual performance. They're won in practice, in that persistence. Then they're won, because then we're already ready. We're ready for it. So being able to go until the end and hold on is what is called dhriti. So go until the end is self-love, not giving up on yourself, no matter what. Shaucham. Shaucham means purity. It means cleanliness. In what? In the way we act. When we're acting, when we have such a high ideal like what we saw, when we're setting our aspirations beyond limits, when we're thinking big, how should our action be in this field? Shaucham should be clean. What does a clean action look like? What does a pure action look like? A pure action is pure or clean in 3 stages. The first stage is purity of intention. The second stage is purity of implementation. And the third stage is purity of integration. So, when I start my act, is my intention pure? Is it something that's, how do I know it's pure? Because it's selfless. Purity is defined by selflessness. The minute it is selfish or for selfish gains, it is impure. because it will only make my vasanas stronger. I won't be able to exhaust my vasanas. So in the beginning itself, is my intention pure? Is it selfless? Is it great? Is it something noble? Then, if that is there, then one check, purity of intention. And it's not to hurt anybody, not to bring anybody down, it's to bring everybody up. Now, purity of implementation. So it's not enough to just have a good intention. That's not enough. We have to know how to implement it properly. I mean, I learned this, the hard way when I was posted in New York, and I was so enthusiastic. I'm like, let's start this, let's do this, let's do that. They're like, we have a board. Do you know what that is? You have to go through the board. I'm like, oh, okay. You have to go through proper protocol. Go to the people who we need to seek approval from. Go to the right person who is meant for that task. Even though at some stage we can do everything. But no, there are different departments for different reasons. There's the finance department who has to do finance. There's this, seva department who has to do seva. There's this other department, IT department, that has to do IT. And let them do what they have to do. Go through the right channels to get it done. Because in that way, when it's implemented the right way, you have everyone's support with you. You can work by yourself. That's fine. But when you work by yourself, you can go fast. But when you work with people, you can go far. And going far is better than going fast. Because when you're thinking long term, you want to go far. So the right implementation should also be there. It doesn't matter if purity of intention is not enough. It's not good enough. Purity of implementation. Then once I have this checked, then what is the final stage? Is purity of integration. Means, did my action create integration? Did it help integrate everybody? Was there harmony that was generated? Did people come together? Did this happen? And did I come together? Am I feeling balanced? And am I feeling harmonious? And if the result is yes, there is integration, then that action is shaucham. You see? You see what it takes to do a right action? It's not easy. But if we think through it, then it becomes beautiful. This is a pure action. This is a divine action. Shaucham. Then adroha. Adroha means not to have any self-hatred. Not to have any self-hatred. Because what happens, and we talked a little bit about this, right? Sometimes we're around people who are better than us. And they're greater than us in many ways. But how do we stop feeling insecure about that? And I had mentioned to see them as inspiration. See them as guiding us to a higher level. They're better than us, so they can bring us higher. They can raise the bar. And it's when we become open to that, then we stop hating ourselves, or we stop feeling bad about ourselves, because we're opening ourselves to becoming better by being inspired by great people. And actually, when we are around great people, it is a blessing because you're immediately raised. So when we have that attitude, that it's totally okay if I'm not at that level yet, but look at them, they're here, and I can also go there. Because guess what? Now I know how to do it. Now I see the people who are doing it. Now I know it's possible. And I can bring that in me. Sometimes we feel bad when people criticize us, right? There is that Oh, I feel so bad when somebody criticizes us, when somebody says something, Like sometimes they'll say, oh, you look tired today. Like, what do you mean I look tired, Or like usually in Desi households, the first thing they'll say is either you lost weight or you gained weight. This definitely will happen whenever we visit anybody, Oh, you lost weight, or oh, you gained weight, or oh, what are you eating over there? Or all these kinds of things will happen, Or, some criticism will come that, like you didn't do a very good job, or this was not good, or somebody will say something and we'll feel bad. Now, how do you take that criticism? Number one is, if it's true, then you be grateful that somebody is actually correcting you. It's really nice, actually, when someone corrects you, genuinely corrects you, because then you can be better and you can lift yourself to a higher level. So you actually are grateful for that person. Thank you for doing that. Because you care enough about me to tell me that I need to do this better. And I value that. But what if that criticism isn't true? Then what do? Then you say, it's okay because I'm providing them entertainment. Well, they have nothing else to do in their life. They'll talk about this person, that person, and they need some entertainment. I'm providing them free entertainment, so let it be. It's okay. Because the nature of people is to criticize and criticize no matter what happens. You go to some wedding, and somebody's wedding will be there. They put so much effort. Nice decor they'll put up, nice music, nice DJ, nice band, everything set well, but the food will not be good, So what will happen? They'll see everything. How was the wedding? The food wasn't good, right? These things happen when people go through things, they tend to criticize anyway. It's a part of life. Anything you do, they'll criticize anyway. It's not like we can't please everybody. And we shouldn't. We should only please Bhagavan, and you'll be peaceful. But if criticism comes, if it's true, take it. Work on it. And if it's not true, it's free entertainment for somebody else. It's totally okay. So then you don't have that feeling of, if you don't feel small or you don't feel bad about yourself. Sometimes we also feel bad about ourselves when there is self-doubt. And we talked about this also, that when people doubt us and they say, oh, we don't think you can do it, or I don't know if you can do this, or you can make this work. And Swami Vivekananda says, every work starts with 3 stages. First is ridicule. They'll criticize. Then opposition. Then they'll oppose. Then after that, they'll accept. So sometimes, yes, people will doubt our potential. People will doubt things that we can do. And that's completely okay. And the solution or the resolution we saw is hang out with people who are confident. And hang out with people who believe in you. And that way, you can then begin to believe in yourself. And when you believe in yourself, then nobody can take that away at all. No one. So adroha is not to look down upon myself because of self-doubt, because of criticism, because of this insecurity, because people are better than me. It's not to look down on myself, but to know that I can do it. I have that kind of potential. Then we come to na atimanita. Atimanita means having over pride. So na atimanita means don't even look too highly upon yourself. So first we're saying adroha, don't look too down upon yourself. And we're saying na atimanita, don't look too high upon yourself. Because that's also not self-love. Sometimes we want that encouragement. We like it when people say, yes, good job, you did great, it was amazing. We love all of that, right? But na atimanita means, who really did it? Who did it? See, there's a level that we get to which is called self-forgetfulness, or where we forget ourselves. What happens in this process is we realize that we're not the ones who are doing anything. We realize that we're not the doers. Because so many things had to happen just for one thing to take place. I can say I came here to share this knowledge with you, but really did I? Without Bhagavad Gita, without Lord Krishna, without Veda Vyasaji, without the printing press, without Chinmaya Mission Sandeepany, without all of you, without an airplane, without an airport, without all of these things, could I really have made this happen? Could I really have done it? And the truth is, no. It takes so many factors for one action, one thing to happen. So how am I going to think that I did it? How am I going to think that I did a great job? It's so much has to come together just for one thing to happen. And sometimes we forget that because we're so short-sighted. And the truth is, the greatest accomplishment, as I said, comes in self-forgetfulness. It's when our ego is completely dissolved and something divine works through us. So it's not even we who are doing it, but something else is working through us. The greatest accomplishment of any individual is when they forget themselves. When a painter forgets himself or herself in the painting. When the musician forgets themselves in the song. When a teacher gets lost in whatever is being taught. When a person gets lost in something, that's when the most divine accomplishments happen. And in those moments, it's definitely not you doing it or me doing it. It's God. So how can we claim that we did it? And that's the symbol of Lord Krishna's flute, right? That's why it is empty. Because as long as we are empty of our egos, Bhagavan can take up his flute and play whatever he wants to play and play the most amazing music, and it will just all flow through us. It's this moment, this ecstasy of self-forgetfulness where divine action really, really happens. But what we do is, instead of being empty and letting God fill us, we want to take up that flute and start playing it ourselves. And when we start playing it ourselves, that music doesn't sound so good. It doesn't sound divine. It's just some ordinary rhythm. And we take that music, that ordinary rhythm, and we say, "Ha, I played great music." And this is what we say. We look up, we raise ourselves to such heights. But really, it's a low. It's a low blow when I'm playing my own music. It's a low blow when I'm doing my own action. It's a low blow when I'm the doer. It's limiting. It's much more graceful when I've lost myself. And in that moment, I don't do. It happens. So, na ati manita. Not looking too high upon ourselves. Bhavanti sampadam daivim. Lord Krishna says, these are the wealth, these are divine qualities of somebody who is truly, truly divine, truly connected to their higher being. Abhijatasya Bharata means these belong to those who are of the divine beings. And he calls Arjuna Bharata. You know, when we study the Bhagavad Gita, it's not only the verses, but it's also like how Lord Krishna calls Arjuna and in what verse. This also we should see. He's saying Bharata means Arjuna, you're divine because your name is Bharata. Bharati. You revel in light, and that's why your name is Bharata. When we revel in light, we become divine. So what did we see in this verse? What we saw was the quality of determination. First, we saw Tejaha, that brilliance that manifests. Then we saw Kshama, how to forgive ourselves and let go of the past completely. Let go of that guilt, that regret, because that's going to hold us up. That's going to prevent us from loving ourselves. We saw Dhritihi, going until the end, finishing strong. Shaucham, we saw acting purity, acting out of purity with regards to proper intention, pure implementation, and pure integration. We saw not hating ourselves, not feeling bad about ourselves when it comes to people who are better than us, when it comes to other people doubting us, criticizing us, or making us feel smaller, not to feel small about ourselves. And we also saw not to feel so high about ourselves, because actually Bhagavan is the only doer. These three verses that we saw, they encompass what it takes to love ourselves. Tomorrow, we will see the opposite of this. We will see what self-lust is. We will see what self-pride is. We will see what self-ego is. And it's important to see these opposites to make sure that this is what we should stay away from. Now we know what we should stick to, but also equally important is what we should stay away from. Then once we have the whole picture, that gives us the groundwork for loving ourselves deeply. Okay? So today we will stop here. And we'll sit quietly just for a moment. Just reflect, think about whatever point resonated with you the most. idam purnat purnamudachyate purnasya purnamadaya purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari